and welcome to Lakecity Live. I'm Ashnoor Kaur in conversation with an award-winning radio producer, Dr. Coley. Dr. Coley is a college academic lead at Birmingham College of English and Media, and he's an author of music productions for radio as well. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
You've moved between academia, freelance production and international projects. What first drew you to the world of audio and radio, and how did you make that switch from advertising to the world of audio production?
I guess I'm a child of my age, having grown up in the 70s. We didn't have all the distractions of tablets or, on-demand television and content, etc. So I gravitated to radio as a youngster, but I love music, and that was my primary connection to radio, that it was a conduit for all the music that I loved. But listening to the radio, you kind of pick up on what the presenters are saying, the adverts, all the various elements that you would hear in a traditional radio station, and I fell in love with it. And my aspiration was always to work for my local radio station. And then by the time I was 21, I was working there, and I thought, well, there's got to be something else to do. And so, I've had a whole career based around sound, audio production. I love the simplicity of it. I love the imagination of radio, that it can, take you places around the world, takes you back in time, very cheaply. Radio's an affordable medium, it's just sound, so I like the democratic element of that. And it's been a privilege to work with various students through the years, creating great productions with them, helping them out along the way. So yeah, I found it incredibly fulfilling, and whether it's a podcast or a radio program or on-demand content, I don't really care. If it's sound orientated, if it's audio, I'm there. I love it.
Well said, sir. And you're actually accurate about, you're on spot about audiobooks and radio being a cheap way to traveling to places you've never been there before. So in this age and in this generation, we have so much options other than radio. So how do you see the role of development radio and podcasting evolving in the age of TikTok and short form content?
That's a very good question. I'm not sure I know the answer. How I personally see it, I don't know where it's going, but personally I think there'll always be a place for audio content because it is such a distinct form of media. Yes, you can have hybrid podcasts whereby you're looking at an interview, and that's fine and valid. But for me, there's something about sound and the way it complements your life that can't be beaten. I mean, radio's been around over 100 years, and ostensibly it's the same. It's a voice that comes out of a speaker that you listen to, that your eardrums respond to, and whether that's coming out of an AM radio, a crystal radio, a mobile phone, or a sound bar, it's the content that's king. That's the most important part. So you asked me how it's going to develop. Storytelling hasn't really improved since the age of cavemen sitting around the campfire. If you can tell a good story, you can tell a good story. And those kind of people that can hold our attention and build emotion and tension will always be in demand. So the platform doesn't really concern me. The platform is just a conduit for great storytelling and people who can pass, build emotion in an audience. So yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of opportunities. I mean, AI is a very, shall we say, scary development, exciting development, let's put it that way. So I think there's a lot of potential for creativity there. But ultimately, I think humans telling stories, talking, can't be beaten.
That's so true. Do you think podcasts, podcast is a byproduct of radio?
Oof, there's a lot of academics have beaten each other up over that question. I think it's an evolution. I think there are elements of podcasts that you don't get in radio. Obviously, the time shift capability that you can listen at any time to a podcast. You don't need to be tuning in at 2 o'clock on a Saturday to listen to a particular show or something. I think there's an intimacy of podcast production that you don't necessarily get with radio. There's the simple things like the duration. If I'm making a radio documentary, I'm bound, constricted by the half-hour slot I'm given. Yeah. But with a podcast, I can do 2 or 3 episodes, can make them as long as I like. Yeah. So there's certainly a lot of attributes that podcasting has that's different to radio. So it is a different sort of medium, but there are a lot of similarities too. And as I was saying before, at the end of the day, it's audio production. Exactly. So, you know, I think if you're a good radio producer, you can be a good podcaster and vice versa.
Yeah, so I think the debate is never ending. It's a loop.
Yeah, I think podcasting is an evolution that came out of radio, but there's room for both.
So when you talked about storytelling in radio is often about intimacy. How do you craft a soundscape that makes the listeners feel that they are a part of that particular story?
For me, I try to use a presenter as least as possible. Okay. So if you have a presenter saying, we're now going to such and such a place, that can kind of take the listener out of the moment and reveal the kind of the scaffolding behind the production. If your presenter is part of the story, that's different. But what I try and do in my productions, wherever possible, is be on location so that the listener is transported to a place. I think in terms of intimacy, you can have a very close mic'd sort of delivery, so you hear the person as if they were speaking directly to you. So I think that's really important, good mic technique. And also a one-to-one form of communication. So rather than a didactic sort of questioning where you've got you know, a set list of questions, that you're actually having a conversation with them. And suddenly the microphone melts away and it's just 2 people talking, and then you feel as if you're part of that conversation as a listener. So it's about, I think, removing as much of the scaffolding around a documentary as possible. Now, sure, you can use sound effects and music, but actually when it becomes really powerful, you don't need any of that stuff. You just have the voice telling the stories, communicating together. And I think as listeners we can pick up on authenticity and respond to it.
Yeah, that's truly well said, sir. Last but not the least, many of our students here are interested in audio storytelling and podcasting. What advice would you give to someone who's just starting out on this field today?
It's simple. Make stuff as much as possible. Now you can sit in the classroom, you can watch a tutorial, you know, you can do all these things, but at the end of the day, you're only going to learn when you're working on your own projects. And fail and learn from that. So my main advice to students is don't just wait for an assignment. If you're truly committed and passionate about making whatever it is you want to make, whether that's video productions or podcasts or radio shows, you've just got to keep making them. There's no trick to it. The more you do it, the better you get. You will have problems along the way. You will learn from those. You will have successes. You'll remember those and think, hey, that worked, I'll try that next time. So my ultimate advice is keep making work, and not just that, play it to people. Play it to your tutors, play it to your friends, you know, and don't just play it to people that are going to tell you, oh, well, that's brilliant, like your grandma. Play it to people who say, that's pretty boring, you know, who are brutally honest, because that's where you're going to learn from it. So make stuff, share it, learn from that. The other thing I would say is listen or watch. So the more you consume, the better your understanding of the genre that you're interested in might be. Now, if you're a fan of Quentin Tarantino, don't just watch Quentin Tarantino films. You're not learning anything from that. Branch out, watch other sorts of films, watch earlier films. You know, if you're a podcast producer, don't just listen to podcasts about sport if that's what you're interested in. Listen to some drama podcasts. Listen to some comedy podcasts. The wider you can spread your understanding of what works and what doesn't, beyond just being a consumer of things you like, the more critical you can be, and you can learn from what you do like, and you can learn from what you don't like, but you need to appreciate the genre and how it works. So I would say, first step, just keep making stuff, share it, get feedback on it, and be at the same time consuming a wide range of other content. And it's not stealing. If you hear something that you like, it's being influenced by, and that's completely fine. So, you know, try those things out. But the main point is just keep making content. Yeah.
Truly well said, sir. I agree with you totally.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for being here. We're honored to have you. And for more such interactive conversations, keep watching Lakecity Live.